in the tumultuous arenas of ancient Rome. For brave gladiators have become legendary Spartacus, Crixus, Gannicus, and Oenomaus. Breaking free from chains, these heroes fought not only the dust of the arena but left the imprints of their freedom, defying their destinies and rising in rebellion. These four insurgents left an unforgettable mark not just in the arena, but also in the pages of history. Here unfolds the epic saga and legendary story of freedom, courage, and resistance.
Spartacus, Crixus, Gannicus, and Oenomaus, the great gladiators of history. They were brave warriors who fought for their own freedom and turned this struggle into a cause not only for their own freedom, but also for the freedom of others. These great gladiators became symbols of challenging the power of the Roman Empire in an age dominated by slavery. Their struggle for freedom was not just a resistance against the ongoing chains. At the same time, they became a beacon of hope to many captive people thanks to their determined spirit and unwavering perseverance. These four heroes not only wrote a freedom manifesto for their own liberation, but also wrote a freedom manifesto for all humanity. Briefly, the writings and stories of Gannicus, Crixus, and Oenomaus. Gannicus, of Celtic origin, is the most important warrior of Capua with his long attacks and dual swordsmanship. At the sight of the symbolic dagger of freedom that Batiatus Gladiator won in a rare fight against 20 opponents in the arena, belief in freedom among other gladiators was further solidified. After his victorious fight for freedom, Gannicus, known as one of Capua's strongest gladiators, left the gladiator school and set out on his own path. Following Gannicus' departure, Crixus the Gaul, who witnessed Gannicus gaining his freedom in the arena, ascended and became the champion of Capua after much hard training and competition. Quintus Lentulus became the most famous and brutal gladiator in Batiatus gladiator training camp, remaining undefeated in the Capua arena and earning a reputation as the fearless champion of Capua. Quintus Lentulus Batiatus, the owner of the gladiator training school, would go to the city centre, buy slaves according to their strength and characteristics, and turn them into gladiators to earn money. And his assistant, Oenomaus, a powerful and invincible gladiator, was responsible for training the slaves in Batiatus gladiator training school, turning the newcomers into the best gladiators. The old and experienced Oenomaus, who had never lost in the arena, had only drawn once with a very strong opponent. Better details will be given about Oenomaus later in the video, but let's move on to Spartacus, the main hero of the story. Spartacus, a Thracian, served as a cavalry soldier in the Roman army. However, Spartacus, who fell into slavery in Rome because he refused to fight against his own people on the orders of his superiors, managed to escape with his friends from the Roman army when the order was given to capture him. Spartacus and his wife lived in mountains and caves for a while, but they couldn't escape forever. One night, while Spartacus was sleeping, Roman soldiers captured him and his wife in a raid. He was captured and taken to the Italian city of Capua, where he met Batiatus. Afterwards, Batiatus brought Spartacus to train him in his own school and turn him into a gladiator. This event started after Crixus became the champion of Capua after Gannicus gained his freedom and left. Amid the difficult and painful training, Spartacus had a hard time and was weak in the beginning. Oenomaus everyone he trained her as he tried to train her, gaining more power day by day and thinking and planning everything to take his kidnapped wife with him. One day, he went to the arena with Capua champion Crixus and they defeated a very strong opponent in the arena, but Crixus was very seriously injured. His opponent, Spartacus, focused on character and together with Crixus and other gladiators, looked for ways to escape from the gladiator school, which was a kind of captivity. After Gannicus left, Crixus and other gladiators were looking for ways to break free from the chains of their powerful owner, Batiatus. Within the cold stone walls of Capua, this small resistance led by Spartacus was trying to keep the fire of freedom alive. Crixus was impressed by Spartacus' determination. They were making incredible plans to regain their freedom with a second hope. However, this journey was full of difficult training, secret meetings, and dangerous alliances. One day, Spartacus tragically lost his best friend Varro and his wife. This event lit a fire in Spartacus' heart. He swore vengeance and promised that not only his own blood, but also the blood of all his gladiator brothers, would not be left on the ground for the sake of freedom. The loss of Varro and his wife further solidified Spartacus' leadership skills. All the gladiators, 78 brave gladiators, managed to escape from the dark corridors of Capua. However, the struggle for freedom continued. Now they are ready to face the formidable forces of the Roman Empire and Crassus and Glaber's army. Spartacus will avenge Varro and his wife and continue to write the story of these respected gladiators fighting for freedom. After Batiatus is incapacitated, the Roman Senate orders Glaber to execute Spartacus and the others. Glaber advances with his army towards the location of Spartacus and several other gladiators and successfully corners Spartacus on Mount Vesuvius. He then positions his soldiers in the area that is the only entrance to the volcano. His intention is to wait for Spartacus and his soldiers, who cannot cope with hunger and thirst, to come down. Meanwhile, two different tendencies emerged in the advancing army under the command of Spartacus and Gannicus. The first was under Spartacus' command and intended to cross the Alps and beyond the borders of Italy to unleash Spartacus on the mountaintop, a move for which Glaber was unprepared. At this high altitude, where the weather was cold, the gladiators led by Spartacus did their best to find a way out. When they found some strong and long branches, they created several ropes using these branches. Then they decided to quickly descend from the mountaintop in order to take advantage of a moment that Glaber's army was not expecting. Glaber had positioned his army at the only entrance to the volcano and was waiting for Spartacus to weaken and come down because of hunger and thirst. But when the gladiators led by Spartacus decided to descend from the mountaintop, they gained an unexpected advantage. Descending down with ropes made of branches, the gladiators launched an attack, waiting for the weak moment of Glaber's army. This move surprised Glaber's army and they encountered unexpected resistance. Led by Spartacus, the gladiators neutralized their enemies by using surprise attacks and mountainous terrain. This event included the loss of the aged and wounded Oenomaus in battle. Oenomaus' sacrifice and courage deeply touched the other warriors. However, after this painful loss, people from all over Italy who wanted to escape slavery joined the army of Spartacus, Crixus, and Gannicus, increasing the number of soldiers to 120,000. They were trying to strengthen the army by giving various sword and defense training to the newcomers. Despite the large number of Spartacus' army, most of them were not soldiers or gladiators, which put them at a disadvantage. It has been proven that leadership is endowed not only with physical strength, but also strategic intelligence. This success showed that they were not an enemy that Rome could easily defeat. With this success, Spartacus shone not only as a warrior, but also as a strategist in the struggle for freedom. After the heavy losses in this battle, the Roman Senate appointed Crassus, an experienced general and astute politician, to handle the situation. Crassus, who had a deep understanding of Spartacus' battle strategies, did not attack. Meanwhile, two different trends emerged in the advancing army of Spartacus and Gannicus. The first, under the command of Spartacus, aimed to gain freedom by crossing the Alps and crossing the borders of Italy. The second tendency under Crixus' command was to remain in Italy and continue plundering. Following these tendencies, Crixus, in the absence of Spartacus and his army, attacked the Senate-designated Lucius Gellius Publicola without a specific position, defeating Crixus and his 30,000 inexperienced and untrained army. Following these events, Crassus took command of a disciplined, well-trained force of 60,000 men with the support of Pompey. While the number of Spartacus and Gannicus' army decreased due to Crixus' departure, Crassus ordered an attack with thousands of his soldiers. Seeing that Spartacus's disorganized slave army could barely hold out against the Romans, Spartacus halted the retreat and launched a frontal attack with all his might. Gradually, his army was defeated one by one. While Gannicus and most of his forces lost their lives in this battle, it is unknown what happened to Spartacus. Crassus and his army, who suffered heavy losses in the war, were victorious. The Romans captured and crucified slaves along the Capian Way as prisoners of war between Rome and Capua. Fearlessly fighting for their freedom, Spartacus and his army became a symbol of freedom in history. Even though all these years have passed, this story has been passed on for years and has been described as a great lesson to humanity.
You can get more information by reading the bibliography and other information of everything told in this story in history and other sources. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to support our channel for more videos.